Hey y'all, what's up? I hope you're well. My name is Patricia, your born and raised small town girl, here to remind you that the unthinkable can happen anywhere. Welcome back, guys. And if you are here for the first time, welcome. I am so glad to have you here. This case kicks off a series I've been working on with 5, possibly even 6 parts. It all started with researching the case I'm covering today. As I dug deeper, I noticed something strange. Other brutal murders and disappearances had happened in the same general area. Some people believe all these cases are connected. Even though people have been convicted in 3 of these cases, there's a theory that they may have worked together or that there's a whole network of people targeting victims along Route 29. There's even a podcast called Route 29 Stalker that digs into this theory. It is also thought that there is some connection to sex trafficking with these disappearances and deaths. Over the next few episodes, we'll walk through these cases together, and by the end, we'll decide for ourselves if there's any connection or just disturbing coincidence. Shipman, a small town with a population of about 500 in Nelson County, Virginia. Described as a place lost in time where not much has changed. Many say the old adage applies that everybody knows everybody. On the morning of August 4th, 2013, longtime Shipman resident Gail Taylor woke up at 6:30 a.m. and as usual went to check on her granddaughter Alexis Murphy, who lived with her. Alexis was incredibly responsible, so Gail had gone to bed before her midnight curfew the night before, thinking she would be home on time like she always was. She was surprised when she opened Alexis's door to find her bed empty and still made. Gail immediately called Alexis's mom, Laura Murphy, who was finishing up her night shift and also lived with Gail. They both were extremely worried. Alexis didn't miss curfew, and she definitely wouldn't not come home at all without any type of call. Before we go any further, let me tell you a little about Alexis so you can understand why they were so worried. Alexis Tiara Murphy was born June 5th, 1996, to her parents Laura Murphy and Troy Brown. She had 3 brothers and was really close with her family. She loved Chinese food, Starbucks, and pink was her favorite color. She dreamed of driving a Range Rover one day. Her family said that she was the comedian of the family. She loved to laugh and sing. Quote, a really genuine person who cared about other people, who liked to see other people laugh and enjoy life. Someone who had big dreams, bigger than her hometown, end quote. When Alexis went missing, she was weeks away from starting her senior year at Nelson County High School. She loved playing volleyball and was super excited about the coming season because her cousin was going to be her assistant coach. She was so hyped for the coming school year. She was considering her future. She thought maybe she would play volleyball on a collegiate level and spoke about the possibility of a career in accounting. She was also working at a consignment shop in Charlottesville, Virginia. Not only was she athletic, future-minded, and working hard, she was a bit of a social media star. She had grown a community of over 11,000 followers on Twitter. Family and friends said Alexis put a lot of positive energy into the universe through social media. She loved to post about what was going on, what she was doing, what she was wearing, how she was feeling. Her energy was magnetic. On the night she disappeared, her last tweet simply said, "Berg bound." She was headed to Lynchburg, Virginia, where she had an appointment where she was planning to get her hair done for her senior pictures. But she never made it to that appointment. When her mom learned this, she knew something was seriously wrong. Alexis didn't come home. She hadn't gone to her appointment. She hadn't called to let anyone know she wouldn't be home. Where could she have gone? She just wouldn't take off, not with so many great things coming for her senior year. Everyone was calling Alexis's cell phone repeatedly, as well as trying to contact her on her social media. It didn't make any sense that she wasn't answering. She always kept her phone charged and near her. Her family said she would even carry around an extension cord at her house to keep her phone charged. I mean, she was 17 in 2013, arguably the height of cell phones and social media for teens. Alexis's mom immediately reported her missing that Sunday evening after realizing no one knew where she was and her phone was going straight to voicemail. Her family began posting on social media hoping someone had seen her or maybe one of her followers knew where she was. They started using the hashtag #FindAlexisMurphy, and several Facebook groups formed to help find her. Sheriff Billy Mays of the Nelson County Police took on the case. It was his first missing persons case, but you wouldn't have known it. He jumped into action immediately. He began interviewing Alexis's friends and family, and then her aunt had an idea. What about the Find My iPhone feature? They could use that to figure out where Alexis's phone had last pinged or where it was pinging from. Her last ping was located at Oak Ridge Estates in Arrington, Virginia, which is a 4,800-acre space that includes farmlands, open fields, historic buildings, a horse racetrack, and an event space. It is used for many things like motocross, mountain biking, four-wheeling, and weddings. Her family feared the worst. Maybe she crashed or was hurt somewhere on the property. A massive search began. Locals on four-wheelers, search teams combing the grounds. Even the FBI got involved with aerial surveillance, but they found nothing. Not her car, not her phone, not her, nothing. Initially, her family wondered if Alexis had gone to Oak Ridge to see Abraham Gray, her mother's ex-boyfriend who worked there. So maybe Alexis stopped by to talk to him before going to get her hair done. Abraham and Alexis still communicated. They had developed a relationship when he dated her mom. However, after speaking to him and running his phone data, police confirmed he wasn't even in the area the night Alexis disappeared. That lead was a dead end. But phone data gave them a new lead. Before the ping at Oak Ridge, Alexis's phone had last been active at Liberty gas station in Nelson County around 7 p.m. before it was powered off or died at 7:17 p.m. So they pulled security footage for that time, and there she was. They saw Alexis. Not only that, they saw a man talking to Alexis. When investigators asked the store employees if they knew who the man was that Alexis was talking to, they knew right away. It was Randy Taylor. He was well known around the station. He was frequently seen hanging out at the gas station when all the high school kids would come there to hang out after school. Employees described Randy as having a distinguishable Daffy Duck neck tattoo and driving a truck with a camo wrap around it. This was the first tangible lead they had come across, because not only was Alexis talking to him, security footage also showed that Alexis followed Taylor in her car out of the Liberty parking lot. When police first questioned Taylor, he denied even knowing Alexis. But once they showed him the footage, his story changed. He now claimed he and Alexis were talking about weed, which, let me say real quick, yes, it is known that Alexis liked to smoke weed. Yes, she was 17, and yes, some people have negative opinions about weed. But regardless of your thoughts on weed, it doesn't justify or excuse anything that happened to her. And frankly, that doesn't change the fact that she was smart, ambitious, and a deeply loved teenager. You might be thinking like I was, what in the hell would make him, a grown-ass man, ask some random teenage girl in the parking lot of a gas station about weed? Well, according to Taylor, when he saw Alexis that night, he remembered a time from a year earlier when she had complimented the smell of a joint he was smoking at a local car wash. That brief exchange, he claimed, made him think she might know where he could get some weed. So in his version of the story, he asked Alexis if she knew where he could get some weed, and she told him she did. He says she followed him to his trailer near Oak Ridge, suspicious, where her friend Damien would meet them to sell him some weed. Taylor said the three of them hung out, smoked, and had a few beers before Alexis left with Damien. There were problems with that account of events, though. Alexis wouldn't have stayed to drink or smoke. While yes, she was known to smoke, she wouldn't have risked missing her hair appointment for her senior pictures. Not only that, if she left with Damien, why wasn't her car still there? I mean, I guess he could claim she came back and got it, but that would still make him the last person known to see Alexis alive. Everyone was now on the lookout for the car she had been driving, a white Nissan Altima that belonged to her father. Ultimately, a local spotted it at a Carmike theater, just a half mile from the consignment shop where Alexis worked. Unfortunately, they posted about finding it on social media before contacting the police, so when authorities arrived, the media was already there. The fear was Alexis could be inside the car, injured or worse. If that were the case, with all the media being there, her family would find out in the worst way. Thankfully, though, she was not inside. Finding her car only raised more questions, so investigators decided to watch several points of surveillance where the car was parked to see who parked it and when. Could Alexis have just parked her car there and walked away? If not, who was driving her car and why? They found footage of the car being parked around 10 p.m. Sunday, August 4th. The video footage was grainy, but it was clear it was not Alexis who parked the car and walked away. It was definitely a man, but they could not tell who. Investigators began canvassing employees at businesses near where the car parked to see if they had seen or heard anything. An employee at the Applebee's right near where the car was parked said that Randy Taylor had been in that Sunday evening, that he drank a few beers and left in a cab. This information gave investigators what they needed to get a warrant to search Randy's property. While deputies searched, Sheriff Mays interviewed Taylor. He said, quote, "I don't know how to explain it in words, just bad." He had a bad aura about him, evil to say the least, end quote. Inside the trailer, they found chilling evidence. A diamond stud earring believed to be from Alexis's Monroe piercing, a fingernail, and hair that looked like it had been pulled out. DNA later confirmed that these items found belonged to Alexis. Can you imagine the horror her family must have felt? These items being Alexis's, but still no sign of Alexis? How could Taylor say she left with someone else but have her hair and fingernails in his trailer? The DNA confirmation led to a second, more intensive search of Randy's property. During this search, investigators brought in dogs specifically trained to detect cell phone glue, which I didn't even know was a thing, but it is, and it is way cool. The dogs found Alexis's phone on Randy's property, about 70 yards from his trailer. Now, why would Alexis's phone be that close to Taylor's trailer? It was completely destroyed, like someone was trying to make it not traceable. I bet Taylor didn't know about the dogs either. Also found during this search, a blue shirt that had blood all over it, with hair extensions and eyelashes wrapped up in it. It was shoved up under a sofa-like thing. DNA confirmed that these items also belonged to Alexis. The picture of what happened was coming together, and it was evident Alexis put up a fight. On August 11, 2013, Randy Taylor was arrested for the abduction of Alexis Murphy. He was indicted on 2 felonies related to her disappearance on September 24, 2013. However, this was before the second search. After the second search and the DNA evidence confirmation, the charges were upgraded. By January 2014, he was indicted on first-degree felony murder and abduction with the intent to defile by a grand jury. The trial began May 1, 2014, with Judge Michael Gamble presiding. Jury selection took 8 hours, and once chosen, Judge Gamble placed an immediate gag order. Randy was represented by Michael Hallahan and pled not guilty. Hallahan argued that the police did not investigate Damien thoroughly, and that the police planted evidence at Taylor's camper to solve the case faster. However, the state proved they had investigated Damien. They had obtained his phone data and spoke with his girlfriend. He wasn't anywhere near Taylor's camper, nor did his phone ping anywhere that Alexis's phone pinged that evening. On May 8, 2014, Taylor was found guilty on the charge of first-degree murder in the commission of an abduction with the intent to defile in connection with the disappearance of Murphy. At sentencing, Taylor tried to bargain for a lesser sentence. He claimed another person was involved and that he would reveal who that was and the location of the body in exchange for a 20-year sentence. The fucking audacity. As if trying to get a lesser sentence wasn't disrespectful enough, this piece of shit caused a scene in the courtroom during victim impact statements. He tried to run, for lack of a better word, out of the courtroom. Like, where did he think he was going to go? Where was he going to go? Even though Taylor tried to manipulate the situation, Alexis's family didn't want the court to give him a lesser sentence for info on the location of her body. They wanted him to pay for what he did. On July 23, 2014, Taylor was sentenced to 2 life sentences. In December of 2014, Taylor filed an appeal claiming that he didn't get a fair trial and that he received poor representation from Hallahan. This appeal was denied. Then Taylor tried appealing to the Supreme Court of Virginia, which was denied in February of 2016. Taylor is still serving out his 2 life sentences at Red Onion State Prison. Even though justice had been served, Alexis's family still felt they couldn't grieve and move on properly. Alexis was still missing. Her family unfortunately didn't receive that closure until 4 years after his last appeal was denied. December 3, 2020. Alexis's remains were located in Livingston, Virginia, 4 miles from where Taylor's trailer was located. It was later confirmed that Taylor told police where he had buried her. The medical examiner's report states that Taylor admitted he suffocated her. How terrifying. I believe he lured her there with a promise of some weed. Once she was isolated, he attacked. The remains were positively identified as Alexis on February 5, 2021. Authorities waited to release the news. They wanted to give Alexis's family time to grieve and make arrangements. I think that was the proper thing to do. Her family deserved that time to process, especially after all those years. When the news was released to the public, the family made a statement. Quote, "Our family is so grateful for the continuing love and support and prayers for Alexis and our family over the past 7 years. While we have been grieving the loss of Alexis since 2013, we remained hopeful that she would be found alive and well. Alexis was the fashionista, athlete, and joker of our family. We were blessed to have loved her for 17 years, and her memory will continue to live on through us all. Our family would like to extend a heartfelt thanks and severe gratitude to the citizens of Nelson County, the FBI, the Virginia State Police, the Nelson County Sheriff's Office, and all the search and rescue teams for commitment and unwavering support to find Alexis. You all kept the promise made in 2013 to bring Alexis home. During this time, we ask that you continue to lift our family up in prayer, and in the words of Alexis, keep hope alive. End quote. It breaks my heart her family had to wait for so long for answers. And honestly, it makes me wonder, why did he confess and tell them where she was? He didn't get any more appeals or a reduced sentence. Was it guilt? Was it regret? Or was it something else? I will say that I have had a theory about others being involved, specifically a man named Jesse Matthews. We will talk about him and the 2 murders he is convicted of later in this series. I have thought about the possibility of him and Randy working together in more than one instance. As I said, Jesse Matthews has been convicted of murdering 2 girls. My theory is, what if they work together with Alexis, the 2 girls he was convicted for, and my next case, Samantha Clarke? What if it isn't just them? What if it is a group of people targeting Route 29? I am hoping through research and sharing these cases, we can see if there is any real connections aside from rumor. I do not want to end this episode without saying, Alexis Murphy was clearly a light in a dark world. She was the world to her family and friends. She was taken viciously and unnecessarily way too early. I hope Randy Taylor never sees a free day ever. And big if, anyone else at all is involved, I hope with all my heart that they will pay for what they did as well. I want to thank you all so much for listening. Please subscribe so you will be notified when new episodes drop. Also, please give your girl a follow on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at This Doesn't Happen Here on IG and Facebook, and at This Doesn't Happen on TikTok. Until next time, remember, pure evil doesn't have city limits, and this does in fact happen here.